Randy Stair, 24, or Andrew Blaze, as he is better known on YouTube, is not your typical mass murderer. He devoted his entire life to Danny Phantom on Nickelodeon and YouTube. On June 8, 2017, in Eaton Township, Pennsylvania, he chose to shoot his coworkers at the nearby Weis Supermarket before shooting himself. His murderous descent is shockingly documented by the several YouTube videos he has posted. He not only left movies for his family, but he also left several hints on his YouTube account over time. What caused Randy Stair to commit mass murder? Born on September 17, 1992, Randy Stair was raised in Pennsylvania by his two parents, an older brother named Jeremy, and two grandparents. Randy experienced some moderate bullying when he was growing up, but it didn't appear to get worse until he was in high school. He felt alone, like he didn't fit in with society's expectations and didn't have a lot of friends. Over the years, everyone's contempt for him has bothered him. He utilized the video sharing website YouTube to express himself in funny and expressive ways after feeling so lonely and melancholy. His video, Mr. Horsehead Meets Mr. Wooden Alligator, made it onto a popular YouTuber Ray William Johnson's episode of Equals 3, which was seen by millions of people. Although Randy himself didn't have great success on YouTube, his later animations, to which he devoted a lot of his leisure time, did garner a small cult following. Randy was able to feel content on YouTube because of the attention he attracted with his films. He gained followers, friends, and more importantly, a haven from the depressing world he observed all around him. His stories would feature characters dying terrible deaths as early as middle school. He claimed to have written at least 4 to 5 of these essays in one of his YouTube videos, but no teacher ever expressed any concern. That worried and startled him. In one of his YouTube videos, he describes his adolescent years by saying, "I was the normal, jaded teenager. Simply put, I don't wish to be here. There is nothing I want to be doing. I'm uninterested in my life. I have no idea where to go." Tom Lynch's death after colliding with the tree was one of the many incidents that drastically altered his life. Randy frequently daydreamed about Tom's passing and would write yearly on a website on Tom's passing. He later wrote in his journal about the passing of a student called Matt, saying, "Tom's death drained the life out of me. The loss of Matt killed me." Despite having mental health problems, Randy was adamantly opposed to therapy because he thought it would alter who you are at your core. He developed a dislike for the elderly people and didn't want to live past the age of 30. He started to have fantasies of setting himself on fire. Randy discovered the solutions to his problems in the Ember McLean character from the Nickelodeon program Danny Phantom. Although he had always loved animation, in 2013 he became dangerously fixated on it. Ember is one of the show's often recurring ghosts and has a sizable following. One of the show's creators claimed that Ember, who was a high school student, had big hopes of becoming a rock star before she passes away. A boy asked her on a date to the cinema. When she arrived, he wasn't there. "He's just running late," she said, waiting for him all night. Ember went home when morning arrived, and he still wasn't there. She was so worn out that when her house inexplicably caught fire, she did not wake up. She perished in the flames. Possibly the source of her nickname, Ember. Randy found a connection with this persona, which led to an obsessive addiction. In one of his YouTube videos, he talks about how he first came across Ember McLean and the following. "A change was made. A spark was seen. It simply resonated with me and warmed my heart. Strangely, it had a very similar feeling. I felt as though I had already seen her." He named his new animation channel Ember's Ghost Squad, after his favorite cartoon character, Ember. Another figure that he introduced was Maxine West, whom he claimed to be his soulmate. Surprisingly, Randy thought that he was also a ghost girl and that he could only revert to that state after passing away. He writes in one of his journals, "I miss my cartoon-like form." As a result of writing this fan fiction, he started to make extremely violent movies, such as the Conspiring a Massacre series, in which Randy, also known as Andrew Blaze, and another character named Rachel, devise a plot for a school shooting. Randy had an obsession with the Columbine school massacre, so it's not really surprising that he would come up with this idea. He took part in numerous discussion groups where he discussed how one of the gunmen, Eric Harris, struck him as a personal friend. He brought 3 white t-shirts with the words "natural selection" on them and would wear them all of the time. The natural selection shirt was a conscious choice. The shirt was worn by Eric Harris, one of the Columbine high school killers from my previous video. Because Randy hadn't yet finished his last video, Westboro High Massacre / Goodbye, he put off his plans to commit mass murder for a year. The most recent video showed a school massacre that uncannily resembled the terrifying Columbine shooting. In the final clip, he expresses respect for Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris, the Columbine school shooters. He informed his YouTube subscribers that he wouldn't be around for much longer. He asked his mother to accompany him as he purchased guns, which she did. He named his shotguns Mackenzie and Rachel. Randy determined who he was going to kill by tossing a coin. He would either commit suicide at home if the coin came up heads, or if it came up tails, he would kill himself after carrying out a slaughter at the store where he worked. It would be the best of the 3. Throughout his recording of the coin toss, he spoke to an invisible audience hidden behind the camera. In one of his vlogs 5 days before that fateful day of June 7th, 2017, he states, "You hear that? That's how it's gonna be. Silent. I wonder how much they are gonna cry. How long are they gonna cry for? For all I know, this story will only be the headline for a day and then disappear. For all I know, this headline won't make any mark. I can't wait for that supermarket to close for a month or go out of business." In another one of his vlogs, he claims that Embers is calling out to him, waiting for him to murder everyone else, and that he couldn't wait to return to his cartoon form. "Do it for the Ghost Squad. We need more souls." In a different one of his vlogs, he claimed that Embers is calling to him and waiting for him to kill everyone else, and that he can't wait to transform back into a cartoon girl. "Do it for the Ghost Squad. We need more souls," he said, Ember told him. He expressed his concern about whether he would get a following after the shooting incident in his journal. He was concerned about the posters on his wall as he was filming one of his final videos. They should be distributed to his supporters by his parents. They were precious after all. He acknowledges that his egotistical nature reached no limitations. Many hints may be found on the Twitter profiles of Ember and Rachel, 2 members of Ember's Ghost Squad. Additionally, the suicide tapes were uploaded using these accounts. Me and Andrew are going to give the world a little insight as to what really lurks around the shadows of your everyday lives, he wrote in a tweet on June 6. One final video he uploaded was titled "Supermarket Tour June 8th, the day before the shooting," and it showed him moving throughout the grocery store and shooting its various exits as part of the preparation process. And yes, even after all of this, nobody stepped in to stop it. Not a single individual. Before entering the supermarket, Randy had originally intended to kill his father since he detested him, and the 2 of them had a troubled relationship. However, he claimed that he had chosen to leave him alive so that he would experience all of the suffering. He covers his "It's Our Time to Rise" shirt with his red grocery shirt. He places a duffel bag full of ammo and 2 shotguns in the trunk of the car. He has 2 firearms, since one might jam. He then leaves for his duty at 11 p.m., maintaining his 9 separate social media profiles that were part of his Ember's Ghost Squad channel. He continued to tweet and post, announcing what was coming or about to happen. In one tweet, he provided a link to a database where he had compiled all of his audio, video, and online journal entries for anyone to view at a later time. "Goodbye, humans," he added below the link. "I will miss you." Working the night shift was Randy. He brought 2 shotguns with him when he arrived at the business at 11 p.m. That evening, he was working alongside Terry Sterling, Victoria Brong, Brian Hayes, and Kristen Newell. Only Kristen managed to survive. Randy noted the crime scene as he hauntingly photographed the deserted supermarket. He locked the entrance after first blocking the emergency exits at the beginning of his shift. Victoria Brong was first shot twice by Randy after he discovers her standing in an aisle of a supermarket store. Although Kristen Newell was also in that aisle, the sounds of her music and the gunshot wounds are muffled by her headphones. But she is still alert to even muffled gunfire. As she finishes filling the shelves, she glances up to discover Randy standing over Victoria, who is bleeding on the ground. She observes as Randy continues to shoot Victoria. She reportedly establishes eye contact with Randy for a split second, but is too afraid to say or do anything, according to Kristen. Randy spares her for some reason, before moving to the next aisle and shooting Terry Lee Sterling twice in the back. When Kristen hurries over to Victoria while Randy continues to slaughter people, she discovers that even though Victoria is severely bleeding, she still has a heartbeat. She dials 911, then ducks, covers, and runs to attempt to find a way out while scanning the area for where Randy could be in the shop. She discovers that the exits are closed off, but she is able to push the pallet away from the front door, and fortunately, make it outside into the parking lot, where she spots Randy's car and his red work shirt lying on the ground next to it. She decides to run away from the automobile and the business, whereupon she hides in a bush until the cops show up. Brian Hayes is working in the baking section when Randy discovers him inside the store and shoots him 5 times. All of the people who were in the store had been shot, except for Kristen, who was able to flee, so his plan had essentially been carried out. As he moves about the supermarket, Randy fires at several shelves worth of goods, cash registers, and whatever else strikes his fancy, including a few propane tanks that he hopes will blow up. Not at all. He then makes his way back to the bakery to carry out his ultimate act, which was to kill himself. A startling total of 59 shots, according to the police, were discharged from the gun. As a result of Randy's crazed massacre, Brian Hayes, 47, Terry Lee Sterling, 63, and Victoria Brong, 26, died. 7 boxes of 12-gauge shotgun ammo, shooting goggles, ear protection, a shotgun buttstock, and an owner's handbook were discovered by the police when they searched Randy's residence. They took his diaries, sketches, computer hard drives, and the horrifying records of his spiral into murder. Residents of the little Pennsylvanian hamlet were shocked by the murder and held vigils and memorial services in their honor. Many people were reminded of how crucial it is to monitor their loved ones' activities and general well-being.